Welcome back to Nuclear Proliferation Explained. I'm William Spaniel. Continuing in our series of lectures on why countries develop nuclear weapons, today's topic is the prestige model. The theory goes like this. States build nuclear weapons because they seek greater international prestige. I want you to divorce military power from nuclear weapons for a moment. I know that might be difficult to do. Clearly, nuclear weapons provide the ability to coerce others. But that's not what the prestige model is thinking about. Instead, the prestige model is conceiving of nuclear weapons as a luxury good. That is, states build nuclear weapons essentially to show them off to others, to demonstrate their ability to build those nuclear weapons, and to demonstrate the fact that they have the resources to do it. They have extra money to spare to work on such an expensive project. France's nuclear arc appears to capture some of these prestige narratives. France was a major power entering World War II. However, Nazi Germany routed them, leading to many French POWs like you see here, as well as the French state being occupied for a good chunk of the war. Of course, that didn't last forever. France was eventually liberated. But the loss, combined with the occupation, left France a shell of its former self. In the years that followed, France tried to recover some of that lost prestige. But it was far from smooth sailing. The Algerian War, in fact, only made the prestige deficit worse. So when Charles de Gaulle returns to power, he sees the development of nuclear weapons as re-establishing French prestige in international relations. The idea that states might value nuclear weapons for prestige greatly concerned the international community. The first major step to do something about that was Dwight D. Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace speech in front of the United Nations. This was a broad and sweeping proposal, and the consequences for Atoms for Peace were enormous. As such, I'm going to devote much more time to this later on in the course. For now, though, the important thing is that Atoms for Peace was a trade. Eisenhower was promising states that did not develop nuclear weapons assistance with scientific nuclear projects. In other words, the United States was trying to demystify the atom bomb and instead add prestige to nuclear research for peaceful purposes, with the added incentive that the United States would subsidize that. This ended up being a precursor to the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, which still uses that Atoms for Peace slogan from time to time. The goal here is the same as before, though. The IAEA promises technology and assistance to countries that are abiding by the rules set forth by the Non-proliferation Treaty. In other words, if you do not build a nuclear weapon, we will help advance your international prestige in peaceful uses of the atom. Perhaps the most extreme example of this focus on science prestige came with India. During the Kennedy administration, Jerome Wiesner was dispatched to India and desperately tried to convince India that the real prestige was not in the development of nuclear weapons, but rather in the development of a space program. Clearly, this didn't work out. India ended up developing a nuclear weapon, although they also now have a space program that's a serious contender as well. The biggest effort to reduce the prestige of nuclear weapons came with the signing of the Nuclear Non-proliferation Treaty, or NPT for short. This is a picture of the UN Security Council doing some preparation for a review conference that happens with the Non-proliferation Treaty on a somewhat regular basis. The NPT created an international law that says that any signatory that's not one of the 5 recognized states is not allowed to have nuclear weapons. This is trying to shift the narrative away from nuclear weapons conferring prestige on countries that possess them. Instead, if you acquire a nuclear weapon, you're going to be treated as an outcast. This is most evident in how countries that surround Israel describe the situation in the Middle East. Israel, of course, is not a signatory of the NPT, and has an undeclared nuclear arsenal. Those countries like to remind everyone that Israel is the only country that's not abiding by the NPT in the region. They are flaunting international norms. To be clear, because Israel is not a signatory of the NPT, Israel is not violating the NPT. But this is how international laws work more generally. There is no enforcement power to international law like there is with domestic laws. Instead, international laws have to be geared toward doing something else. And in this case, it's to create a norm against nuclear weapons, so that if a country like Israel develops nuclear weapons, they are not conferred with prestige, but rather they are shamed for doing that. That wraps up this lecture on prestige and why countries might develop nuclear weapons. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you next time. Take care.